What's up, guys? You know, we have tested many mini PCs on our channel, Tech Brothers, especially those equipped with Intel N150 processors. However, this processor can be used not only on Windows computers, but also on servers, for example. I have one of the most interesting servers in 2026 called ZimaBoard 2. To be honest, this is my first server, so if you are looking for detailed tests, this video is probably not for you. However, I will tell you about main specs, features and operating system of the ZimaBoard 2 and how it can be used by most people. For example, as a mini NAS with support for up to 36 TB of storage capacity, a home theater with a built-in streaming apps, smart home control with built-in home assistant, and for many other purposes. Let's start our review of the ZimaBoard 2 single-board server with unboxing. So it comes in a simple cardboard box with Zima logo and a link to official website on the sites. No specs or features are mentioned here. After opening the box, we are greeted by the words "Welcome to Zima Space." Then we have two packages. The first one is the single board server itself, as well as a user manual for it. By the way, we can finally see the key features of the ZimaBoard 2 from the bottom of the package, such as new expansibility via PCIe 3.0, dual SATA 3.0 ports, dual 2.5 GB LAN ports, 4K display output, and Intel quad-core CPU up to 3.6 GHz. You can use this package as a stand for the server and two 2.5-inch drivers. This is a very cool and eco-friendly solution. The second package includes accessories such as power adapter, interchangeable plugs for different countries, a brushless fan, a SATA Y cable, and two screwdrivers. I also have a Mini-DisplayPort to HDMI adapter, as well as a 2-bay HDD rack tray, but they are sold separately. Many other accessories for this mini server are available on the official website, such as PCIe and network, storage accessories, power and cooling accessories. Talking about the design of ZimaBoard 2 mini server, first, it is quite heavy, 435 grams. Actually, it is not very heavy, but it is heavier than the mini PCs with the Intel N150 processor that we tested earlier. I think this is because of the aluminum casing. Since the ZimaBoard 2 doesn't have a built-in fan, its aluminum case provides passive cooling. In addition, it ensures high durability. This server really looks and feels rugged. The dimensions of the ZimaBoard 2 are 140 by 83 by 31 mm. It is compact, which is why it is called a mini server. It has one smooth side with the Zima logo and the other side has aluminum fins for cooling. One of the main features of the new mini server is the PCIe 3.0 slot on the side. It allows you to connect any PCIe-based expansion cards to the server, including GPUs, NVMe SSDs, Wi-Fi cards, etc. There are also two SATA 6 Gbps ports and the SATA power connector on the bottom, and two 2.5 Gbps LAN ports, a Mini-DisplayPort 1.4, two USB-A 10 Gbps ports, and 12 watts DC input on the top. Overall, ZimaBoard 2 looks amazing. It has an excellent build quality thanks to its aluminum casing, and I think it has a very convenient location for the PCIe 3.0 slot for connecting other components. Now let's see what's inside this mini server. We will need two hex screwdrivers to unscrew the bolts on the sides and bottom. Fortunately, they are included in the kit. So this is a rear panel of the printed circuit board or PCB. Unfortunately, we cannot see the CPU, RAM and other components here because they are on the other side. We are only interested in this small white connector labeled CPU fan. An external fan is included with ZimaBoard 2 mini server, and you can connect it here if you wish. Okay, let's put it back together. You know, one of the main purposes of this server is to store your photos, videos, and other files. As I already told you, you can install up to 36 TB of storage capacity using SSD and HDD. I have 2.5-inch SSD with a capacity of 120 gigs and HDD with a capacity of 1 TB. You can use the box to store the server and 2 SSD drives. However, an HDD will not fit in here, so you can just put them next to the server or buy a 2-bay HDD rack tray like this. It is really convenient for storing HDDs. You can install 2 HDDs here. While placing the mini server on rubberized pads on top. The storage devices are connected to the mini server via single SATA Y cable. Just connect it to the server and your SSD and HDD. My setup for ZimaBoard 2 mini server looks like this. Probably the second HDD looks even better than the SSD, but I have to check both of them. Now we just need to connect the power cable and Ethernet cable to the mini server. That's it. The ZimaBoard 2 has its own built-in operating system called ZimaOS. You can access it by opening a browser on your computer and entering the IP address, or by typing ZimaBoard 2. You can also control the mini server through the app on your mobile device, but we will talk about this a little later. So ZimaOS has a pretty simple interface, but it is intuitive. We can see time and date in the upper left corner. Next is system monitoring, such as CPU and RAM usage. By the way, I have ZimaBoard 2 1664 model, which is equipped with 16 gigs of RAM and 64 gigs of built-in eMMC storage. This mini server is also available in the 832 model with 8 gigs of RAM and 32 gigs of storage. We can also see the TDP and processor temperature here. I told you that my server model has 64 gigs of storage, but only 47.7 gigs are available. The last widget monitors your network connection. You can customize widgets, namely show or hide the ones you need. In the center, we see the new devices found, namely the SSD and HDD, which we connected to the mini server. We will configure them a little later. Finally, there are apps available in this operating system. Among the pre-installed apps are App Store, Files, Backup, ZVM, Peer Drop, Settings, and Icewhale Community. In the App Store, you will find many other applications for backup, chat, cloud, database, developer, documents, downloader, file sync, finance, gallery, games, home automation, media and network. We will install some of them a little later. Now I want to show you the settings menu. Here we can see the name of this mini server and its operating system version. And then we can change wallpaper, language, time zone, time format, search engine, and disk standby. In the storage, you can combine or enable your disks. I only have ZimaOS HD here because I haven't enabled my SSD and HDD yet. In the network settings, we can see the virtual network IP address and 2 LAN Ethernet ports. You can enable or disable the remote access here. The apps settings only have migrating locations. You know, ZimaOS is a very simple operating system compared to Windows or Linux. But for a server, it really has many features and applications. In addition, you can install Zima client on your Windows or macOS computer to have quick access to the server. This client is not a replacement for dashboard in the browser, but rather a supplement, because it offers quick access to hard drives, as well as backup and peer drop functions. It can also make folders from server drives visible on your computer. This is convenient for copying files. Zima client is also available on mobile devices such as Android and iOS. Moreover, the mobile app even has more functions than the Windows client. First, you can monitor the CPU, RAM, and network status of the server using your smartphone. There are also applications available that you have installed via the control panel. However, you cannot install new apps on the server via your smartphone. Finally, you can quickly backup files from your smartphone to the server. So the mobile app is really useful for monitoring server status, launching applications, and backupping files. Now let's go back to dashboard and finally turn on our storage drive. In the storage settings, we can click on Start and combine or single use each disk. I have my SSD and HDD here, but they need to be formatted before use. Done. Now we can see that the storage capacity of my server is 1.17 terabytes. We can also go to the Files app and see ZimaOS storage, SSD storage, and HDD storage. Let's upload some video files to the SSD storage. You know, the upload speed depends on the internet connection, not on the speed of the SSD. My internet connection is only 100 megabits per second, so the upload speed is about 70 megabits per second. But if I check the internet speed using the special app, it will be around 100 megabits per second for both download and upload. The files are uploaded to the HDD storage at the same speed of about 70 megabits per second. However, when you transfer files between storage locations on the server, they do not use a network connection, but a connection between ports. Therefore, the transfer speed is much higher. I also want to show you how to upload files from the mobile device to a server. You can also go to the Files app and see all the storage locations on the server. Just click on the Upload icon and select the files on your smartphone. Now they are stored on the server and accessible from a computer, smartphone, or any other device. So ZimaBoard 2 is very convenient for use as a NAS. But you can also use it for home theater. For example, you can download the app called Plex on the server and have access to a large number of the new and not so new movies, TV series, shows, and more on any computer.
All the attention, knowing he wants me. Then there's the money. You just have to want to do it.
Or even smartphone.
25 years?
We're so grateful to have our kids here with us. My greatest happiness in life is being your wife.
You know, I also saw that the games are available in the App Store. There are 2 apps for creating a Minecraft server, but I don't know anything about them. And there is also a retro game simulator here. I was able to play a few retro games on the server. Finally, the ZimaBoard 2 server supports a Zima virtual machine, and you can install Windows or Linux operating systems. I have installed Windows 11 on my server. Overall, it worked well, but of course not as fast as directly on the physical computer itself. so I only tested the main and basic functions of the ZimaBoard 2 server, but it has many more. Personally, I plan to use it as a NAS for quick backups of files from my computer and smartphone. You can connect both SSD and HDD to the server with a maximum capacity of 36 TB. However, it has many more use cases such as media server, smart home and IoT hub, network firewall and router, Docker container host, virtualization lab and others. Thank you for watching this video. See you soon!